Like, I am your host, Mickey Dollar. But yeah, so today on the V Talk I have Andrew, and he's also AKA Vango the Prophet, and we're gonna just talk about info and find out who he is and what he's doing and bringing to the table. So, Andrew, like
how you put that.
Let's see. What could you describe yourself like? Who can you say you are?
That's a difficult. It's not, but it is. All right, so I'm trying to sum it up in short words, just so you can then branch out from there. I would say self-motivated, self-driven, also easily influenced, and I could say that's why I'm really particular on what I listen to music-wise. You could ask my friend right here. I won't listen to certain things just because, like, if it could influence me a certain way. So, but who am I? I would say that was music. I would say I'm a person that's dedicated to whatever I'm doing. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna do it, I want to try and do it like 100%.
Right.
And that falls in a lot of categories, as in flipping, as in music, poetry, filming, photograph.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what do you do in tumbling exactly? Like, what? Because some people, like me, when I first thought it was like cheerleading,
Yeah.
But it's actually not. It's like Spider-Man. Are we speaking loud enough?
Yeah.
Right.
I would say it's all about body control, honestly. That's where it first starts, is body control. How much body control do you have? Because that's what the whole skill is. Tumbling is like something that you work on, or in my case, you're just like overly blessed with body control from a really young age, because a lot of people have to practice using the limbs they have. You know what I mean? And look at it like that. It's like people who are like, oh, I'm not good at sports. For the most part, it's like either you had to work. For some people, that's the same case, but they worked hard to get good at that sport. You know what I mean? So there's just certain things to go about it.
So, like, what do you guys do in particular? Like,
You're right.
flips.
My fault. Flips, I do like, all right, so back flips and then flips with 360s. That is called a full. And I do standing fulls, which means no running, no nothing, just jump up, do a backflip, do a 360 at the same time, and land back on my feet, not my head.
That's wild.
I can also do a standing double, which is doing a flip and rotating twice, so doing a 720. And then landing back on my feet, not my head.
People go to the Olympics to do that sport, right?
Yeah. Gymnastics.
So that's what it is. Like, tumbling is part of gymnastics.
Yeah, that's just our street term, should you say. Like, it's tumbling. Like, it's like not like the street term, but like it's not the qualified term that you should use. But if somebody who tumbles heard that, they'd be like, oh, what all can you do? Right. Like, so what's it like, you know what I mean? So that's just what it is. That's
cool. I always seen videos of people in the Olympics, like, running and then jumping.
That's called power tumbling. That's what they call it.
They jump so high that they're able to, like, and it's all about, for me, I think it's all about their inertia and velocity they're going.
Out on me. Is everybody good on me?
That's cool, but tumbling, like, it's a cool sport. I always, like, I don't know. I know I can't jump like that. I remember I saw you and Jimmy do one time these crazy flips, and I was like, damn, that's wild.
You don't understand. I wish I was good right now. I was like, hey, bring that camera. I'm gonna show you something.
Speaking about that, tell us what happened. Like, you hurt your foot, right?
Oh yeah. So I partially ruptured my Achilles, but partial. Like, when I looked at the actual like MRI, like the scan of my muscle. Yo, it looked like. So for the camera, like, you see how the lighter is. And you see how you can see that little line of purple. That's how my Achilles was hanging on, by that little line of purple. So like, that's how my Achilles was. So it was kind of how I did it was, I was doing a round off Arabian. and it was different because I was supposed to be like, in a sense, like landing towards like my onto like the ground, but going towards like a like kneeling in a sense. And when I did it, when I came down to go push it, it would, did like this. I felt it, but I didn't feel no pain.
Right.
It's almost like when you sleep on your arm, and when you wake up, you can barely move it.
Right.
You don't have any feeling. That's what it felt like when it did everything it did.
That's insane.
And then it started to slowly hurt.
So it's like pain in your ankle area, or?
Right. All right. So you know how when you look at your foot, you have that band from your heel that goes into your calf. It was that. And if you don't understand, like, because a lot of people say that's like one of the worst things to do. So if you don't fully have an idea of how bad that hurts, you should just flick the back of that.
Damn.
And then you'll have an idea of how bad it hurts.
That's crazy.
Snap that muscle.
Damn. There been accidents with people that like tear it completely?
Yeah. That
happened. They fix it or like?
Yeah, it happened to my cousin.
Damn. So you just put like a synthetic one?
His completely torn.
Damn. That
it's rolled up
painful.
into it, and when it completely tears, it rolls up into your calf.
So like, what does it do like exactly?
So the purpose of your Achilles is.
So like you're saying it rolls. So
like if it completely severs, it will roll up into your calf because it's like an elastic band.
So then eventually you have to amputate your leg.
No.
Oh, damn.
But
psych.
Pretty much what it does is it helps you. So when you feel like you're about to fall forward,
there's nothing holding you.
That band pulls you back.
Right, but now you don't have it.
So if I want to go, so I can't push up onto my toes because that's my band scrunching. My Achilles scrunching up, and it lifts me up on my toes.
So is it like muscle or is it like a tendon or like?
It's a tendon.
Okay. Damn, that's scary. I've never broken anything in my body, but.
Better knock on some wood. But yeah.
Psych.
But yeah. I feel that. Now I broke a bone. I've now torn a ligament.
You've been athletic all your life, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So I've been able to flip since I can remember, and some of my earliest thoughts were as preschool. So I don't remember.
Did you have long hair?
No.
Mine was so short.
Yeah. I was able to do a back handspring ever since I can remember. Like, I don't have memories before I could flip.
That's crazy.
That's why I have my YouTube channel that I'm going to be coming out with called Flip First.
Flip First. There's going to be a link in the description, guys, so you guys can definitely follow up with Drew, what he's doing. And, you know, if you have questions about anything, always hit us up, write in the comments. And you have to keep subscribing. So I wanted to see, like, did you grow up here in Frederick City, or like do you come from somewhere else? Like, what's your history?
Yeah, so pretty much I was just born in Baltimore and then was raised in Frederick. So Frederick is what you would say is my true home, like my hometown. Like, you know what I mean?
The crib.
But if you see my birth certificate, then it's from Baltimore.
Yeah, from B-Mode.
So, yeah. And
so you grew up in Frederick, like you went to school out here and everything?
Yeah.
Sure, that's cool.
T-Rose.
You did you do any sports at school?
No, so I should have, don't get me wrong, but I wasn't. My grades wasn't like that, plus my mind was in other places.
True.
And I ended up cheering while I was in high school.
That's cool. So you're a cheerleader?
For a gym outside of school. So I would travel on the weekends and stuff like that, and then go back to school. Stuff like that.
That's cool. So like you would travel in a way.
Yeah, like we would go to Georgia, a whole bunch of places. I did that all throughout high school and after. Just always traveling. But always bus ride or car pooling and stuff.
Right.
I've flown for the first time when I was going to Oregon. But yeah, we're getting off track, my phone.
So you went to Oregon?
Yeah.
Drew's a professional workman. He went there for business.
Yeah, I was chefing.
That's cool. You said you were catering, I think, or something. Or that's somebody else. So.
Yeah, no, I was catering.
Yeah. Was the good food?
Yeah.
Was the food good?
Yeah. I was about to say they loved it. I had one person say it was damn good.
What kind of food was it? What kind of food was it?
Just random stuff. So not like random, but a little schedule we had. It was like,
But it's like American food, like.
oh yeah. We was cooking for the army.
Oh, that's cool. So like, it was top secret. AKA FBI site.
Let's just skip the subject now. But so what's the next question?
He's like, please edit this. This has to be cut. Next question. But yeah, that's cool. So like, obviously, from everything that you're saying, like tumbling and I guess gymnastics, you can say, like, has taken you a good amount of places and like a good amount of experiences.
Yeah.
You know, you probably learned a lot and met a lot of people and probably partied once or twice. You know. But so you also do music, Drew, and like I produced some beats for you, and like you posted
Fire.
music.
Fire.
You know, you have music on iTunes, Spotify. I know there's other places as well. And I'll put descriptions in the link downstairs. I mean, I'll put links in the description below. But yeah, so what would you say your music is about?
That's a good question. First and foremost, self-growth and self-thought.
That's interesting.
And then also, Yahweh. Yeah, forgive me. But
What is that?
that is the name of what they would say is the Christian God and of the Bible. That is his true name.
Would you say that the Hebrews believe the same thing?
Yeah, I would say the Hebrews. That was his name in ancient times.
That's interesting.
Should we say? That's who they refer to when they say God.
So your name, Vango the Prophet, that's
Yes.
your artist name.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you come up with Vango the Prophet? What does it mean? What does it represent?
Vango.
Vango.
My name is actually from my last name,
Vango.
rearranged and the S dropped, and it so happened to be a painter.
A pintore.
And
You paint. What do you paint?
mental picture. But
So if right now you saw something in your head, you could potentially draw it.
yeah.
Interesting.
And then with time, I would be able to have more detail as I draw.
So do you have a lot of dreams?
Yes.
Are you scared? You look scared.
I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna
You look scared of the camera.
Sometimes I can be, just because I've had dreams where stuff comes true,
Uh-huh.
which is also another reason why the end of that alias popped on there.
Interesting.
And not only because of that, is because I've had a dream where I felt like I spoken to Yah.
Uh-huh. That's cool.
And so I did research because I was like, in a sense, like thinking like, yo, that can be like very blasphemous in a sense, like to say that. And then like, so I went and like there was many prophets back in the day, you know what I
Right.
mean? And even different gods had their own prophets for their God, you know what I mean? So the thing prophet, like now when we go into the actual term as in Yah's gods, then he has his certain ways where you can know him as a prophet. And like
Right.
I think there's like 3 to 4 different things that are said, and I would say I cover about 2 to 3.
Okay.
So that's when I was like, okay, I don't feel as if I am being a false prophet, you know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't prophesize events, you know what I mean? If anything, I prophesize myself in the stuff that I will do.
Right. So you would say you're a
if-
living prophecy.
That could be it.
Interesting. That's pretty unique because, like, a lot of people talk about predestination and stuff like that, and you know, I believe everybody has a life that has been chosen, but you get the option, you know.
Yeah.
And we can see that through everything you've been through, you've been going through the right path, and it's been leading you to good experiences and life. Would you say that your music, like in your music, you do like meditation to write songs? Do you do you have some type of ritual or something like that? Like what inspires you to write songs and then make them into songs?
Honestly, life events for the most part, and mindsets for the other most of the part.
That's cool.
You know what I mean? So
a lot of thought process.
yeah, and even sometimes the beat can have the story just itself, or
Yeah.
what it, or the message, should I say?
That's something cool that Drew says. It reminds me, like, so when we started making music, he would come over to my house and like we would literally start from scratch, and I would be like, tell me a note, and like we would be beat by beats, sound by sound, instrument by instrument, and like we would make like I would be like, let's make like stories. We would make beats that like had a beginning and end. Like in our case, it would be a verse, a chorus, a bridge,
Yeah,
etc. And it's like
yeah,
I personally like music when it's in art form. Like I love when music is turned into art for what it should really be. Like, and that's cool. And honestly, Drew's music does that a lot. If you guys listen to some of his songs, like they just make sense to what things, how things are. And like he said, a lot is about his prophecy, but a lot of people can relate definitely in his music. Like definitely. So you guys better check out his stuff, his SoundCloud. Put some plays, hit some
Spotify.
likes.
Spotify, Apple Music.
We'll have all the links in the description.
All that. Hey, but I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, and just know God sent wouldn't have been brought to you without Mick V right here, Mr. V.
I always consider my beats that I made with him were like the best beats, just in structural reasons. Like that's good. Like what would you say, Drew, that like is your goal with music? Like where do you want to reach? Where do you want to be in 5 years from now with your music and all?
Okay. My goal is to create mindsets inside of people. My goal is to like break certain mindsets inside of people. It's in a sense like there's a reckless mindset that's covering everybody, including the youth. And I want to try and slow that mindset down and introduce actual thinking back into society.
Right.
From leaders of nations, and it seems like there's a lot of agendas being pushed towards certain things. And my goal is to help the people who are being influenced by that to see the influence as I see it.
Right.
And so it's not, because there's a lot of people in this world that if they look at something and they can see it for themselves, then they wouldn't do it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean there isn't people who like, I choose to ignore it. I don't care.
Right. That's crazy.
And but anyways, my goal in music is that, and where I see myself in 5 years is being, if I'll say this, if plans go according to plan, in 5 years I see me being a very important piece of the rap game that certain people may not want in the rap game, but I can't say that for the fans.
Right.
But people in the rap game would want. Not even artist-wise either. I just see me doing well and influencing a lot of people within that time period in a positive manner.
That's cool. Since we're in that topic, like, what would you say? First of all, let's say, who are your inspirations right now in the rap game and hip hop, pop, whatever, all the genres you can consider?
I'll say my reasons for who I'm talking about. You know what I mean, and where I pull from them. I'll say Nipsey Hussle because he helped me tap into a drive that I haven't seen before. You know what I mean? With myself. And even though his music may have violence in it, it does have a message as well.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I look past the violence to look at the message that he's trying to bring. because there are messages where it's very positive or it's just shedding a light that may be hard to understand from a different view. Another person would be Kendrick Lamar. And
I like Kendrick Lamar. Some songs.
I pull from him as like competition in a sense. Like, I would consider him the #1 rapper. Mainstream. I look at it as how would my song do compared to this song? And I already know I still have a long way to go. Yeah, but it's like that's where I'm trying. So I don't look at any local artists. I don't look at any mainstream artists. And if I do, it would be the top rapper. You know what I mean? And
right.
Another person is J. Cole. And J. Cole for his wittiness. Because J. Cole is a person, and how adaptable he is.
Right.
He can do any flow. And you could tell it may not sound fully natural for him, but he's going to snap with it. Right. You know what I mean? And that's one thing. In his wittiness, he's just too clever with the words. They just sink. They just sink in like, oh man. So,
like, say you're in a group with like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Lil Wayne. You know, the best rappers, at least 5.
Yeah.
And think about it like The Voice. You know, the game show. Yeah. Say you have to pick one of them to be your producer and be your one and only. You know. And you have to, once you do it, you're in the game. But, like, who would you choose? Like,
that's a hard choice.
Let's name at least 3. Let's say Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and what other? Let's see.
I'll say this.
Or Drake, let's say. Since everybody's like, oh, Drake. Hola, the Drake, you know.
I would say probably Kendrick. If I could have a person to like overview my work and like, you know what I mean, in a sense be my mentor, I would say that would probably be the perfect person. J. Cole would be like very close to that too, just because J. Cole has a mindset that I feel like we have a lot of similarities. And in a lot of situations, I feel like our lives probably could look at each other and reflect from our lives. You know what I mean?
That's very unique.
That third person.
Well, you said Nipsey Hussle, you know.
If some way it was possible, I would say yeah, but I just don't know how it worked, just because how different our backgrounds is. Because like I could relate to certain things up until a certain point.
Right.
You know what I mean? And right when it gets to that point, you know, I'm pretty sure it could work, but it's just like for the best for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know how. I feel like I could put him with my man's Cube on and it would be a dub.
Right.
You feel me? But yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome, honestly. Like, I don't have a lot of, like, I mean, I have a lot of inspirations because I love a lot of music, but, like, I don't have a particular one person. Like, I personally like capturing info from everybody and learning their ways, you know. Maybe that's just my way of learning, or I don't know. But it's just like, I don't know, music is cool. Anyways, so that's pretty awesome music career, I would say, that you're having, and like you're planning, you know, you have a lot of work that you're doing and work that has to be done, and like
work that still isn't even put out yet.
Right. Like, you have a big plan, and I think it's going to go far and even further than we really think, because years, you know, like they say, the harder you work, the more you'll get, and like the longer you work, the same thing, and that's how it is. Like, the more work you put into it, you know, exactly, yeah. So yeah, do you have any new songs you're about to release, or anything you're working on in particular now, or
I'll say go see $1 Million Mindset.
Really dope.
You might get a song called Handicap soon that, in a sense, voices my opinion on how everything happens and my views of certain things. Look out for Takeover season. And hopefully it's about time.
Takeover season is like the whole album, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, guys, there's gonna be links in the descriptions for all that stuff. You know, you can follow Drew right here.
Yeah.
Subscribe right where his finger was. And if you're listening, still subscribe because he said so, and I said so.
Do it.
Yeah. I was imagining right now, like, you know, that there's that fact that makes your eyes googly. He's just like, dude.
Do it.
But yeah, so like, definitely you guys listen to his music and, you know, tune in because he definitely has good things. And I don't know, there's a lot that you haven't heard, and then when you do hear, you're gonna be like, damn, why didn't he post it early? And that's what I tell him, you know. But the more you wait, the more anticipation you get.
Yeah. Don't worry, I got a single off of it coming soon.
And that's a bet.
Just know, I'm gonna make it in the game whether they want me to. Yeah.
That's a really nice beat. Too bad you guys can't hear it.
Oh my god.
So yeah, so in my second segment of this podcast, I wanted to talk about some spooky things, you know. And we actually spoke about some things earlier that you brought up, spirituality and whatnot, and, you know, some crazy government things. But now we wanted to talk a little bit. Now we probably wanted to talk a little bit. I had to repeat myself because I thought since I banged it by accident, it's probably like.
Put this under the.
So, what are your thoughts on government, first of all, right now? Like, I don't want to talk about the president in particular or, you know, but just about, for example, right now we have elections coming up soon, and there's a lot of people left, and there's some crazy.
Can I say, all right, on the government, not to interrupt you, on the government election, I'm not saying I want anybody to win, because that will go into the talk of what I'm going to talk about with government. But with the election, I see Trump having the 8.
What do you mean?
He runs for the 8 years. All right, that's how I see it.
Don't say that, bro. You're scaring me.
All right, remember my birthday, and I was trying to tell niggas that he was going to be elected,
bro.
But anyways,
he's a speaking prophet.
I wish I would have recorded myself saying that. Anyways, like went back then, like.
We can rewind real quick.
Nah, just like back then when I was saying it that night. But anyways, government-wise, I'll say this. I don't really believe in a whole bunch of people that doesn't live the same life that we live dictate everything about this country. If there's not enough government jobs to employ regular citizens, then I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's like your job is to help us,
right.
But at the end of the day, you say we have a word in what goes on, but then again, we still have to have y'all pass everything.
Right.
So it just doesn't make sense to me. Like when J. Cole said we should be able to send our taxes to wherever from a button on our phone or a tablet.
Right. That's
and have everybody put their taxes wherever they want it, instead of just putting it in the hands of somebody who doesn't live the same life as us.
That's crazy. You know, like, we are controlled every day. We live in a society, which you need to understand that. And I'm talking to the viewers, you know, and the listeners. Like, sooner or later, we won't have the ability to do things like this.
Freedom of speech.
You know, freedom of speech, making videos, vlogging, podcast, radio, all this will be very limited ties. And, like, for example, on YouTube, you know, everybody's getting, I don't know how to say the word, but basically, like, now, if you say a bad word, it just, you know, it doesn't make a sound and it skips it. It's like, that's cool, you know, for kids and all, but it's like sooner or later, if we talk about the government or do some thing they don't want us to hear is they will mute that too. You know,
Snippet.
snippets,
It's like-
edit. The power of editing right now with computers, especially the government like that, is wild. Like, you could be watching live television and they will edit it ahead of time so that when you're watching it, all of a sudden the channel acts a certain way, the person says some type
Or
of
go
way.
straight to commercial.
Exactly. Like, it's very crazy. Like, what would you say? Like, this has to do with population control and like, my bad.
Yeah.
Population control and like, you have a song called Population Control too that I think people haven't heard it yet, or have they?
No.
Yeah, but that's I think I made the beat with you too, right?
Yeah. We got Potato
That's
this
fire.
evening.
Stay tuned to that too.
My thoughts on population control is one is very real. It's being fed to us in every state and form it can be fed to us in literal terms, and then also like just alright, for example, the clouds back in the day I never used to see the planes would fly over, let alone leave a streak in the sky like that. But fly over and have anything really tailing off the end of it. Like,
Right.
it was never like some long trail that streaked as far as it flown. It was never like that back in the day. And now it is, and it just makes me think, like, what all are we putting in our air, which we
Right.
breathe? And another way is food. Food never made my stomach just like I couldn't break it down or work
Right.
so hard to break it down, or like there's just certain like the stuff with food. Burgers don't taste like how they used to back in the day.
Yeah.
Like there's only certain places you go to where it tastes like that burger from back in the day. And
That's
the last
crazy.
thing I'm gonna say is population control with mindset. With the mindset. For example, Tide Pods. So if you can convince a whole bunch of people who could either be idiots or just don't think stuff through,
People are eating them, right?
convince them to eat that. Now back to what we were saying with the controlling the TV and YouTube. So why didn't they take that off the air when it's killing how many people, or sending how many people to the hospital?
Right.
Why are you still showing this instead of why not censor those videos so then nobody sees anybody else doing it or still doing it?
That's wild. Infiltration.
So it's also mentally too a population control. It's almost like dodo birds running off the edge of a cliff.
That's very unique. Like, that's a cool thing to say now. Like, fact about geoengineering. Geoengineering is actually climate engineering, and basically in 1894, well, it started in 1892 to 1895. They started experimenting with cloud seeding. And cloud seeding, basically what it is, they send planes up high that throw these giant pill-like bombs, and they burst out through the air and condensation in the air from the humidity, and it just creates a cloud. And they started doing that for those 6 years, about 5-6 years, and until the United States government allowed it to be an actual thing, and they made laws about it and when it should be used and when it shouldn't be. And geoengineering is actually really cool, but it's cool if you're
it's
using
used
it for
for the
farm.
right
For
reason.
example, all the forest fires we had, I know the U.S. government has technology to do that, but they decided, let it just burn in California, let it just burn in Australia. Of course, there's a lot of other countries too, but it's just messed up
The
nationalism.
rainforest, but
The rainforest. What happened in the rainforest? Were you there?
stop.
Stop.
All right, you did it.
Amazon truck actually just passed by. If you didn't see that,
Wow.
Amazon Prime. That's, to me, Amazon Prime. All they do is just they're listening to you, and they're just trying to.
I said Amazon, then Amazon truck where I was behind this one. Anyways, but Nah, the Amazon when it was on fire and shit. And nobody stopped.
Oh yeah, but the truth is something that I
And
knew
it was
because I used to
man-made.
drum. So I used to get drumsticks a lot, and drumsticks are usually like one pair of a good kind are like $8, maybe $12, and then like a pack of 20 is like $50 or more, and it all depends on the brand. And the brands they vary in tree, the type of tree they use, and the good brands, for example, the Dario, which is ProMark, and they have Vic First and all of them. They make from actual like trees from the Amazon that they buy. Same thing with drum sets. Like I actually had a drum set. The brand is called PCP. Like no, not PCP. It's something like that, and it's Pacific something, and that's funny that I said PCP. To me, it's like, what the hell am I thinking? You know? Why are you doing? But anyways, my drum set was made out of some mahogany wood from Brazil, and I was like, damn, that's pretty unique. But that's fucked up because like it's just like now there's no homes for animals and whatnot, but they've been doing those fires on purpose so they can just get the tree that's burned and use it for coal and other stuff. But yeah, that's about that. The world is changing. Do you think you can eventually make your music be like to the point where you have like you see people like JC and them that they get involved in the United Nations where they talk and help societies for like to end hunger or stuff like that? You think your music could ever lead you to do that? Like maybe those aren't good examples, but
No,
like
I get
trying to
what you're
say
saying.
that your music will eventually put you in a position where you can change the world in a good way, you know?
Yeah, and that's what that's what the goal is. To be honest with you, I don't care about the money. Like, and that's one thing why it's like, if a person says it's like this, let's say somebody comes up to me and they want to sign me. If they can control what I say, then I don't want the deal. I don't care about how much money they want to give me.
I'm just hungry.
You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's just like, I forgot what I was saying.
You know what?
I forget what I was saying.
You're talking about how the we were talking about reptilians actually.
No,
What are your thoughts on reptilians? Do you think they run the government? You think they are your bosses
it wouldn't
or
surprise
your
me.
neighbors?
I wouldn't be surprised. That's all I gotta say on that.
That's crazy. Like you've seen videos, right? That they show the Hillary Clinton all of a sudden off.
Nah, I
Lizard
haven't
eye.
seen that.
It's like the one thing I can say is that if you ever go to a flame, to a fire, and you start taking pictures or a video, or mainly pictures, you'll see that in the actual fire, you'll see like the signs and things and whatnot. And like this one time, I took like a picture and it looked like a demon, and it was like, whoa, that shit's scary. But I wasn't scared, you know. But like in TV, the same thing. I forgot their specific name, but when you're learning about movies and learning about graphic design and whatnot, they show you that there's times when computers will glitch and perform any type of like image that they've seen before or something negative. Like a computer at this level and the internet can compare good and negative. So they will show it to you in any way they can. So maybe it didn't make sense what I said, but. Do you want to go to Egypt one day? See the
Yeah.
pyramids?
Yeah, that'd be dope.
What do you think is inside of the pyramids?
Bro, so much stuff runs across my mind. I could say I don't know, but if it was something, I probably thought about it.
I believe that inside there's a chamber where people used to go in there to get initiated because it's a big lodge, it's a Freemason lodge, and the Nazis destroyed that entrance so nobody could see what's in there, which is like a giant chair. And it's like represents the Temple of Solomon. But maybe I'm just crazy. You were talking about food earlier, how it's changing and whatnot. Like, do you like what do you think about food? Do you think it's safe to go to the store, or do you think it's safe eating out? What do you think is more? What would you recommend for people that are out there lost, trying to figure out what to eat and not die?
I'll say this. I'm still constantly searching, but
Do you search on Google
yeah, but it's
or
like
Bing?
nah, I do it whatever it leads me to, honestly. But it's one
It's
of those
like
things.
I got an
where-
Apple Watch. Don't worry. Hey Siri,
There you go. It's one of those things where it's like
is she listening to us?
I forgot the question.
Is Siri listening to us right
No.
now?
There you go.
It's like you're with a girl one day and she's like, Drew is mine. They made this movie called Jaxie, and it's with one of the guys from Workaholics, and he's made other movies too. And basically, he buys the iPhone and he downloads a virtual assistant. And this AI is very smart, but it just has feelings, I guess. And like, so basically, there's this other movie called Her, I think, and it's this old guy that has a phone and falls in love with the Siri or whatever. So that's what Jaxie's about, and like, it's a funny comedy. It's kind of dark humor, but I mean, you can figure out what happens. Like, Jaxie pretty much falls in love with a guy and makes his life miserable until he has to get a new phone. She just follows him, so it's like a nightmare. Yeah, so I don't know. We talked a lot about a lot of things. Definitely about, where you came from, your music, and your goals, and even some crazy things like reptilians. But what would you say to people that would motivate them if they're in a situation or something bad? Like, if somebody's going through something negative right now, what would you say to keep them motivated?
Just don't stop trying. Like, you're gonna hit brick walls. You're gonna hit them hard. You may get knocked out, but when you wake up, try and find another way around it, or over it, under it.
That's
But
cool.
just don't stop trying.
That's good words. Like, if there's anybody out there that's struggling with music, or what would you recommend for them to do? Like, what inspires you? Like a quick tip that makes you say, "Hey, I can do this."
I can do whatever I put my mind to.
Mm,
If
that's a
I
good
think
one.
it, I can do it. If I say it, go do it.
Right. That's good words. Like,
It's beyond structure. It's beyond. It's something where it's creativity, where you have nothing. You have 3 items, and you have to make something work with 3 items. Not you have everything at your disposal to make it work. And that's when you make people have creativity. So it's like shoving people in a hole.
right.
But don't be surprised when one gets away, because those 3 people work together to let one get out, so they can all get out.
Right. That's interesting to know. So yeah, before we cut off this video, do you want to like promote any music, or for example, Drew actually started a vlog channel as well, and I'll be showing up there once in a while. We have a lot of videos we're gonna keep doing and bringing you guys a lot of crazy stuff and more podcasts. Definitely, I'll have different people, and just stay tuned. Subscribe. We're gonna have our Instagram information, our SoundCloud, his Spotify stuff, all that, so you guys can go, press like, play, and subscribe, and keep sharing the stuff. And if you guys have any questions or any ideas of what I should talk about in my next podcast, definitely comment down below or message me directly. And yeah, subscribe and follow.
Vango _ the Pro.